right, yogis, so coming to a nice easy seat on your mat, we are going to get started with some breath work today. Just really relaxed and grounded. Coming to a nice, easy, gentle rhythm of the breath. Inhaling and exhaling in through the nose and out through the nose, cultivating Ujjayi Pranayama, it's the victorious breath of yoga. Imagine you are trying to blow out a candle just with your nose on the exhale. So inhaling in through the nose, fully expanding the lungs, letting the belly expand, and maybe holding the breath just for a moment. And then when you exhale, exhale out through your nose. Imagine you're trying to blow that candle out through your nose. And as you're making this breath, gently drag it up the back of your throat, creating the sound of the wind and the sound of the ocean. Creating this Ujjayi Pranayama, this victorious breath of yoga, stoking the internal fire. So inhaling in through the nose and out through the nose, trying to keep this breath work throughout our vinyasa practice today. Focusing your attention back to the breath over and over again. Noticing if any thoughts do come up, and if they do, allow them to come without judgment, and then gently allow them to go. There may not be any thought coming up as you just continue to breathe. Either way is fine. Start to gently sway a little bit from side to side. So just notice the body starting to move a little bit. Side to side. Right? And then let's take this down and around to a seated dancing lion. And as you do this, pressing on the outside of the thighs, or the inner thighs. Making sure to go in both directions, continuing with that Ujjayi breath. Allowing your head to be an extension of your spine, because it is. When you feel like you've done a few of those and you're feeling good about that, sit up really tall on an inhale. Continuing that exhale out through your nose, round and curl, rainbow spine. Inhale, lift up the heart, open the chest. And exhale, round and curl, nose breath again. A few more at your pace with your breath. Here we make the connection, the actual yoga from breath to body. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Catch your left wrist, look up, and lean towards the right. As you look towards the left, either hold on to that wrist or let that right hand float down and expand even more. Here you can also drop an elbow gently to the earth as you continue that. As you are taking the side body stretch, make sure to plug this left hip down so you're not lifting up off the hip. We really want to feel the opening through the side body. Breathe. Let's come back to center. Interlace all 10 fingers behind your head. Open up. Let your chest and heart open. Let your elbows open. Maybe drop your head back, chin to sky, or not. You can also tuck here if that feels better. Just really feeling the expansion in the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together behind you, and then hands back to sky. Catch the left wrist, look towards the right, and another side bend here. Float the left hand down or continue to reach for the right wrist. Once again, thinking about that opposite hip plugging down to the earth. Beautiful. We'll come back up to center. Let's take hands to heart, prayer mudra, Anjali mudra. Touching your thumbs to your heart, sitting up tall and continuing with the breath, the victorious breath of yoga. Setting an intention for our practice today. As the Eagles Haven Zoom classes are coming to an end this week, just sitting in gratitude right now and setting an intention to continue my yoga practice and hoping that you can also set that intention as well. My students who are at school with me, the year is coming to an end and we are finishing our practices together, but can you set an intention to continue your yoga practice? Or if not, what kind of self-care can you incorporate into your life on a weekly or daily basis? So take a few moments just to setting that intention. And if there's anything else you'd like to allow in right now, please do that. We'll take the next hand gesture, the jewel of the lotus, touching the thumbs and the pinkies together and looking right inside there. Perhaps thinking, what is the jewel of my lotus? The most important thing to me right now, or important person, or thought, or action. Allow that to bubble up as you look right into the center of that. And then sending that intention and that jewel right up to the sky. And split your hands gently left on right knee, right behind you. Sit up tall for a nice twist. Look over the back shoulder, breathe. The next inhale, sweep the arms back to the sky. And the next exhale, the hands come down for another twist. Looking over the back shoulder and breathe. The lotus flower in yoga is extremely important. Many lessons. Reach back to the sky. And let's come forward to child's pose. Taking your knees as wide as the mat, touching your feet behind you, and finding yourself on the earth, third eye. Maybe take your prayer hands behind your head for a tricep stretch. Or take the fingers onto all 10 pads and lift up and drop the chest. Or maybe even sliding the hands through the legs. Letting the shoulders go into flexion. That's yogi's choice on the child's pose. But continue to come to your breath. Close your eyes as you continue to breathe, inhaling and exhaling in through the nose and out through the nose. And then gently start to walk both hands and your body off to the right side of your mat. Feeling the side body open as you take the left hand on top of the right. Stay there in that position for a few moments. Maybe continue to walk the hands a little bit further, the left further over and up. Really feeling that side body open, the rib cage, the intercostal muscles. And coming back to that idea of the lotus flower grows out of the mud. And so without the mud, the lotus flower cannot bloom or be beautiful. Come back to center with both hands. This time stretch your hands a little bit further forward and then start to walk over to the left side, taking the right hand on top of the left and sending the side body open, maybe tucking the left ear to the earth or the forehead to the earth. And so you continue in this position of child's pose, walked over to the side of your mat. As we continue to breathe, inhaling and exhaling in through the nose and out through the nose. It's often said, no mud, no lotus. No mud, no flower. No dirt, no joy, no shine, right? Come back to center to tabletop position, hands and knees. In this tabletop position, make sure the knees are hip distance apart, about 2 fists width. The hands are wide like big starfish on your mat, shoulder distance apart. Tuck your toes behind you so you can really stretch out the bottom and the back of your feet. Inhale, let the belly drop, shoulders open, collarbone broadens. Exhale, tuck your toes, press down into all 10 toes as you lift belly button to spine and spine to sky, chin to chest, cat stretch spine. Inhale and exhale in through the nose, out through the nose at your pace. Continue with that breath and movement. Perhaps taking dancing lion here on the earth. We did it seated, so this is just coming around. Maybe even lingering here in the hip flexors, bringing the feet up for a quad stretch. Maybe you want to touch your head to your feet if you can. And you just want to keep moving the body here in any way that feels appropriate for you. Coming back to neutral spine when you're ready, we'll take the right foot onto the earth and really extend here. I'm going to move up so you can see my toes. We're pressing through, but leaning forward, shoulders over wrists. So shoulders over wrists and really pressing through the back heel. Feeling this through the back of the Achilles and the back of the calf. And then knee comes back to earth and do the other side. So the left toes down, shoulders over wrists, and really press back into that leg. So just like the lotus can't grow without the muck, we need to go through our stuff, whatever that is, however ugly it is, however dirty it is, however we feel nasty when we're going through it, knee back down, in order to shine, right? In order for our flowers to flower. So same concept, no mud, no lotus. Right hand out, left foot back. Lift up. Maybe take hand for foot and then a quad stretch. Breathe. Release. Left hand out, right foot up. Balancing tabletop. Noticing what happens to the belly here. Does it sag and fall, or can you pull it up and in? Lift up a little higher, reach maybe, catch the foot for a quad stretch here. Breathe. And then release again. Both hands down. Tucking your toes, floating tabletop. Bring the knees just a couple inches up off the earth, pressing through the floor or the ground. Feeling the belly strong. And then turbo facing dog, first down dog, bent knees. Shaking your head, yes. Continuing that breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Gently straighten just the right leg as the left knee's bent. And then we'll switch the other way. So straighten the left, bend the right. And take your dog for a little walk by bending and straightening one and then the other, really pressing through the back of the heel. Beautiful. The feet are slightly turned toward one another, and your hips and feet and knees are all the same width apart. And then settling into a nice downward facing dog as we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Taking a journey to the top of our mat, walk, step, jump, or float. Draw your hands to shins or thighs with a flat back, lengthen the spine. And exhale, fold again. Heel toe the feet once again, hip distance apart. Keeping the left hand down in the center. And bending the left knee in, turn towards the right hand on hip. If it's appropriate, reach for the sky. Notice the shoulder girdle open. This palm face is open. Perhaps come up on a block or your fingertips here to find more space in the twist. And then back down for forward fold. Inhale and lengthen. Maybe reach behind your calves and try to bring the chest to the thighs. We move through the other side, right hand to center on block or earth. We bend the right knee in as we take the left hand to hip, feeling the shoulders stack again. The hand can stay here on hip or reach for sky, really opening the spine and rotating. And breathe. Both hands come down, heel to the feet back together. Inhale, slide hands to shins, lengthen. Exhale, fold out of your nose. Remember that breath out of your nose. Now inhale, fill up the air and reach to the sky for a little back bend here. And then bringing the hands in to heart center. Sun Salutation A. Inhale, reach to the sky. And exhale, fold to the earth. Inhale, lengthen halfway and lengthen the spine. Plant your palms, walk, step, jump, or float to plank. Lower down all the way or halfway, elbows tucked to the rib cage. We inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale, press back, downward facing dog. If we're taking the upward facing dog, just the tops of our feet and our hands are touching. And if we're taking the cobra, the whole body is touching, except we just lift a little bit of the chest with our hands touching the earth. Shaking your head, yes and no, relaxing any tension that we might have in the body. And then journey to the top of your mat, walk, step, jump, or float. Offer your heart on an inhale. Fold and melt on an exhale. And then rise again with a back bend on an inhale. Hands back into heart center. Beautiful. Again, Sun Salutation A. Reach and fold. And lengthen. Vinyasa. Lower down, all the way to your belly this time. Tuck your toenails, all 10 of them down, especially your pinky toes. Press into your hands, but draw the elbows back and just peel the chest up. Take a big breath here, and then exhale, press up and over, downward facing dog. That was a cobra. And breathe. At least 3 big, long, slow breaths in through the nose, out through the nose, and then top of your mat. Let's take a big step this time. Step right foot and then left foot. Offer the heart. Inhale. Fold. Exhale. And then inhale. Rise again. Back bend and heart center. Let's go ahead and flow this one without too much of my verbal cues. Do what you just do it. Your body knows. Inhale, reach. Yogis, if you're looking for more of a workout this afternoon or morning, go ahead and take more push-ups here, or maybe hold plank, or take more vinyasa. Option for an inversion here if you take a headstand. So take a few breaths here. We're going to need mountain pose. This time step forward with the left foot all the way up, and then the right foot meets. To even that out, inhale, lengthen, look out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. If you're still playing around with something else, that's okay. We're going to meet right here in sun salutation. A, finishing in prayer position. From prayer position, hands come down to your sides, mountain pose to Katasana. If you're more comfortable and stable with your feet hip distance apart, feel free to do that. And perhaps we want to maybe do a little bit of windshield wiper here, gently tapping the kidneys if you want to move, or you can even shake a little bit while we wait for everybody to make it back to the top of their mat. Sun salutation B, Surya Namaskara B. Generally speaking, classic Ashtanga, 2 or 3 or 5 of these. We're just going to do 1 today because kind of got a little bit of a slow start with a long warm-up. If your feet are apart and you're in mountain pose, stay there for a few breaths and then find yourselves feet together, knees together, thighs together like one big leg, like you're squeezing a tiny little ball between your legs. And then bend your knees and sit back, reach your arms up 45 degrees, squeeze everything in, chair pose, Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway, Ardha, Uttanasana. And now Vinyasa your way. Walk, step, jump, or float. Lower down all the way or halfway. Upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot steps up all the way through in between your hands. If it doesn't make it, help it get there. So either scoot the foot up or scoot that foot back. Gently spin the heel to tap and root down into your feet to rise up, warrior 1. Squaring hips and shoulder forward, bending into front knee over ankle, tracking the knee past the big toe. Maybe putting a little bit of up dog here, spiraling your pinkies in, drawing your shoulders back and down. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, release the hands to tap. We're slowing the sun salutation B down a little bit. Lower down here or skip it or take some more. Up dog or cobra. Exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Left foot comes forward, back heel spins, root down, rise to stand in warrior 1. In through the nose, out through the nose. And release back to Vinyasa or skip it. Finish in child's pose or downward facing dog, yogi's choice again. I'm going to take a little bit of a rest here. Again, if there's more in your practice that you want to explore, please feel free to explore that. Perhaps you'd like to come back to your intention. Or maybe you're still thinking about that lotus flower, the jewel of your lotus, and how much mud went into making that jewel so shiny. We'll venture to the top of our mat, walk, step, jump, or float. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit back, rise, chair pose. And hands to heart center. Back to chair pose, inhale. Bring hands to center to touch. Touch thumbs to heart, and now twist to the right. See what happens to your knees, get them in line. Keep trying to press those hands to heart center, chair for a twist. Release and lower down, forward fold. Offer, inhale, lengthen. Vinyasa. Step up, warrior 1. We've been here before. Bring hands through heart center to hips. Straighten out your front leg and open up to triangle pose. Let your back foot open just a little bit as well. And then lift up out of your chest and reach for triangle. Tip over, hand to thigh, shin, or block, and breathe. back to T, back to center, hands to hips. Turn forward, bring the foot with you. Maybe take a little back bend here, just a little bit to stretch the hip flexors out here. And now we're going to come forward to forward fold, shoulders and hips square. Just come halfway at first. And then all the way down. Head to knee pose. If it's a little too much, bend the front knee. You can also come up on the back tiptoe to find more space. But we're really feeling this behind the calf, behind the knee, behind the hamstring, up into the glute. Inhale, lengthen, and try to bring the chest to thigh. Breathe. The next inhale, root down into your feet to rise tall. Bring hands to heart center, lean forward, all the weight into your front leg, warrior three. And let's tent your fingers, Hakini Mudra, Mudra of concentration. Lift the back leg a little bit higher, flexor point the toes, try to get the hips to square. Breathe for as many breaths as it's comfortable. We're going to meet in standing down in Katasana again, but not to rush to get there. When we all meet in Tadasana, in mountain pose, we'll take a few moments here with breath. And before we venture to the other side, why don't we add a little bit of a balancing posture here, a little bit of tree, Vrikshasana. Taking your right knee to your chest, Hakini Mudra, again, concentration mudra, fingertips only. And the foot comes into the inner thigh or below or above the knee or onto the earth. The hip is open. Taking this hand gesture up towards the sky, turning it into the jewel of the lotus, the one we did earlier. Thumbs and pinkies touch and everything else is open like a flower above your head. Beautiful. If that is too much, the arms can be out to the side like airplane. You can also be holding on. Or hands back at heart center. You'll know when it's appropriate to release the foot to the earth. And then just make some organic movement, maybe some figure eights or some circles. So whatever feels comfortable for you before we head into tree pose on the left side and then the other side of the chair twist. Standing tall in the right leg, so really strong in the belly, in the bandha, in the belly bandha, in the root bandha, uddiyana bandha, mula bandha. Bring the left knee up, turning it into tree again, Vrikshasana, and Hakini Mudra here at the front. Finding balance and stability, your drishti, your gazing point, is about 3 feet in front of you, looking at something not moving on the earth or a little bit ahead of you. Turning this into the jewel of the lotus as you lift towards the sky, offering up. And breathe. Again, whatever is appropriate for your hands and arms, do that. And stay as long as it's comfortable for you before you finish in grounded mountain pose. And just like the mountain stands tall, rooted in the bedrock of the earth, so do we. The mountain stands through all weather, through all seasons, steadfast. Once we're all back together on the top of our mat, feet together, knees together, legs together, squeeze inward spiral, chair pose, Utkatasana. Hands come to heart center, thumbs tap the heart, twist to the left, chair curve twist. Option always to exalt the arms or take any other variations that you take here. But generally we're pressing the hands to center, looking up over the back shoulder or elbow, making sure the knees are squeezing to touch. And then we exhale and release, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, look out. Walk, step, jump, or float to vinyasa, upward facing dog or cobra. And then downward facing dog. Step through, left foot all the way in between the hands, fingertips and toe tips line up. Spin the back heel gently, rise up, warrior one. Beautiful. Straighten out the front leg. Step the back foot 1 footprint up and open the arms like a T. Lift up out of the ribs and then lean forward, finding Trikonasana, triangle pose. Tree 3, cone, angle, asana pose, triangle pose. Coming back up with the T, hands to hips, turn back to square. Hands come Hakini Mudra, lean forward, find warrior 3. I forgot the head to knee pose. So instead of standing tall, come back, straight legs, and fold in. Head to knee pose. Maybe come back up on the tiptoe, lift the chest, and then melt the heart. Beautiful. We'll step both feet together, lowering down to a toe stand in a squat position, taking the hands to heart center. 2 options here, 3 options here actually. You can stay and then sit down into bound angle, seated with feet together, knees apart. That's ultimately where we're all going. Or you can take your knees open up on your toes. You can either hold or balance. And then another option is to maybe take your crow pose, taking your knees to the backs of your armpits with as straight arms as you can, leaning forward, looking forward, squeezing into the bandhas, and letting 1 or both feet float up off the earth. We'll breathe wherever we are, and then gently meet in bound angle seated, Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose, seated. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Use the elbows to open out the knees. Maybe you want to use a block to bring the earth a little bit closer to your face. Sitting up tall, hugging in, and lowering down to your back. All the way down to your back. Finishing postures. This class went by very, very fast. Finishing postures are seated or laying down spinal twists, reclining pigeons, definitely a back bend or 2, bridge pose or wheel pose, and then finishing in Shavasana your way. So I'll take a little bit of everything. A little bit of spinal twist. Taking a few breaths in each pose. Maybe you're feeling like you want a little bit of reclining pigeon here, just to open up the hips and thighs. A little bit of a bridge pose before I do the other side. Lift up. If you can interlace your hands, go ahead and do that. Drawing the shoulder blades together and the hips up. Beautiful. Continue that breath in through the nose, out through the nose. And then letting it go. Spinal twist for me on the other side. Left over right. Lean to the right with the knees. Arms open. Look to the left. Breathing into that space. Allowing the spine to adjust back to its natural space. And then recline pigeon on the other side, just for a few breaths. Yogis, before you finish your practice, if there's any postures you want to work on, maybe you want to do some inversions against the wall, or maybe you want to take another back bend, or something else you might be working on, go ahead and find whatever it is that makes you comfortable, that makes your body feel good. Maybe it's a happy baby, or a straddle pose, or a bound angle, on your back here. So yogi's choice. And maybe you're finished and you want to just take a nice big good morning stretch. And then hands down to your belly and relaxing, shaking your head, any tension. Letting that go. Letting the breath come back to its natural pattern of breath. So no longer holding on to that ujjayi breath, but just a general, easy breath. If you're not comfortable on your back for any reason, you can roll to your side or put your feet up towards the sky or even bring the legs against the wall. Or even sit down on your bottom. So wherever you're comfortable. And if there's any other postures you're still working on, please feel free to continue to do whatever it is you need to do to finish your practice. Today's reading is Change is in the Air. Just as the world around us changes and evolves, so do the circumstances and situations in our lives. We live in a universe that is alive, vibrant, and constantly evolving. Change is the way nature, the universe, move us through each period of our lives and into what is meant to be for us. We are led to our next lesson, to our next adventure. Yogis do not deny change, or fear it, or fight it, because change is inevitable. Just as the earth is in constant motion and transformation, so are we. So take your place in this universal dance, the universal rhythm, and allow change to happen. Work with it as your life unfolds. Sometimes change comes in one smashing moment, like a volcanic eruption. And other times it happens much more slowly, the way the wind and the rain sculpt bridges out of canyons. Learn to also trust your body, its signs, its signals, its warnings, and its excited proclamations. We let the gathering clouds warn us of impending storm. We learn to study and predict the tremors in the earth before an earthquake. In the same way, our body can function as a barometer for our soul and its place in the constantly changing and evolving universe. Thank your body for helping you. Thank the universe for what is about to do. Be thankful for change because it brings you closer to yourself. Yogis, I invite you to stay as long as you'd like here in this Shavasana, in this lovely time of meditation and relaxation to restore, recharge, and renew yourself. Before you awake from this yogic slumber, come back to your intention. There's no need to get up to finish the class. If you're ready to get up and finish, please do. If not, please stay. Yogis, I invite you in all of your comings and goings to practice love and kindness to everyone you meet, friend, stranger, or foe. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. May we contribute to that peace and happiness. Until our paths cross again, I wish you peace, love, and light. Namaste, yogis. Thank you.